Raman looked at the food in his lunchbox and made a face. Idli and chutney and idli again, he said to his friend Bim. Bim gave his own lunch a critical look and frowned. You think that's bad, he said. I've got bread and jam again. It's the third time this week. They pushed the food aside. We can get something at the burger place after school, Raman said. They concentrated on studying for their English test instead of eating. English was next period, and Mr. Frank had a reputation for giving difficult tests. When the bell rang, they dropped their uneaten lunches into the garbage. Mr. Frank was standing nearby. Not hungry, guys? He asked. They shook their heads and hurried off to class. When the test was over, there were still 10 minutes left in the period. Mr. Frank stood at the front of the class. Before you leave today, he said, leaning against the desk, I'd like to share an old African folktale with you. I think you'll find this one interesting. It's called Why the Sky is Far Away. Long ago, the sky was close to the earth. Men and women did not have to plant their own food. Instead, when they were hungry, they just reached up and broke off a piece of the sky to eat. Sometimes the sky tasted like ripe bananas. Other times it tasted like roasted potatoes. The sky was always delicious. People spent their time making beautiful cloth. They painted beautiful pictures and sang songs at night. The Grand King Oba had a wonderful palace. His servants made beautiful shapes out of pieces of sky. Many people in the kingdom did not use the gift of the sky wisely. When they took more than they could eat, the sky became angry. Some people threw the extra pieces into the garbage. Early one morning, the angry sky turned dark. Black clouds hung over the land, and the great sky voice said to all the people, You are wasting my gift of food. Do not take more than you can eat. I don't want to see pieces of me in the garbage anymore, or I will take my gift away. The king and the people trembled with fear. King Oba said, Let's be careful about how much food we take. For a long time, all the people were careful. But one man named Adami wasn't careful. At festival time, he took so many delicious pieces of sky that he couldn't eat them all. He knew he must not throw them away. He tried to give the pieces to his wife. Here, wife, Adami said. You eat the rest. I can't, Adami's wife said. I'm too full. Adami asked all his children to help him eat the delicious pieces of sky, but the children couldn't eat one more bite. So Adami decided to try to hide the pieces at the bottom of the garbage pile. Suddenly, the sky became angry and the clouds turned black. You have wasted my gift of food again, yelled the sky. This time I will go away so you cannot waste me anymore. All of the people cried, What will we eat? We might starve. The sky said, You will have to learn how to plant crops in the ground and hunt in the forest. If you work hard, you may learn not to waste the gifts of nature. Everyone watched as the sky sailed away. From that time on, they worked hard to grow their food and cook their meals. They always tried to remember not to waste the gifts of nature. The bell rang for the next period. That's the end, Mr. Frank said, smiling. He looked at Raman and Bim. What did you think of the story? He asked. They slouched in their chairs and looked apologetic. We get the message, they said, smiling. No more lunches in the garbage. Baby, come for breakfast. Your milk is getting cold, called Bea, my elder brother. I quickly put on my slippers, picked up my favorite doll, beat it and rushed out into the veranda. It was a beautiful day. The morning air was most refreshing. Oh, how lovely, I said aloud, taking a deep breath. I ran across the veranda, with Beta tucked under my arm. While I gulped down the milk, I heard Papa calling out to the driver. Papa's still here, Bea. He hasn't gone to the clinic today, I said, overwhelmed with joy. Being engrossed in a magazine, Bea did not reply, but I could see Papa talking to someone in his room, which was opposite the dining hall facing the veranda. Papa, I don't have to go to school, it's a holiday. Do you have a holiday, too? Look, Beta's got fever, I said, all in one breath. No, my dear child, I don't have a holiday today. You go and play while I talk to Mr. Singh. He is very ill. I'll ask the compounder to give your doll some medicine, Papa said lovingly. It was quite unusual to find my father at home at that time. Normally he was in his clinic before I woke up. So I was very happy. My father wiped his spectacles with the kerchief as he listened to his patient carefully. I was on the balcony when I heard, "Baby, baby, come here, see this." It was my brother from the veranda. He had spread himself on an easy chair and our dog, Tom, was dancing round on his hind legs. I burst out laughing. "Papa will give medicine to Beta," I said, showing off. "And I'll ask Papa to give some medicine to his darling daughter, because she laughs and laughs," said Bea, tickling me and sending me into fits of laughter. Being the youngest child in the family, I received everyone's attention and affection. Papa, of course, was the most affectionate. I ran from one end of the veranda to the other and then onto the balcony, staying close to Papa's room to attract his attention while I played. I swung on the curtain, thumped on the door, tapped on the table, pulled and pushed the chair. "Look, Bayer, what a variety of sounds they make," I said, pulling the chair, then leaping up and rapping on the door, clapping my hands, jumping all the while. "Don't," pleaded Bayer, not taking his eyes off the book in his hand. Racing back to the window of Papa's room, I saw him still busy with the patient. I loved to see him there before me while I played. He must like it too, I thought, to see me play around in his room. I dragged a chair and climbed onto the table. This at last drew Papa's attention. "Baby, be careful, you'll fall down," he said tenderly. "Look, Papa, I am taller than everyone," I grinned from ear to ear, making my eyes disappear. All one could see was a set of white teeth and chubby cheeks. Both Mr. Singh and Papa smiled. Papa did not look convinced. So I said again, raising my hands above my head, "Papa, I'm a big girl now." He nodded with a smile and continued talking to the patient. I touched all that I could reach with my hands till I got to the black switch. "No, you should not touch it." I was imagining what my mother would have said. "If you touch it, you'll get hurt," Bea had told me once. This was a forbidden article for me, but how attractive it looked to black against the light blue wall. Unable to resist the temptation to touch it, I pressed the switch and the light came on. I immediately switched it off. I was scared. I looked at Papa with large, anxious eyes, but he was busy writing. He did not see me. I looked at Papa again, and then at the switch, which begged my hands to touch it again. "I'll do it just once more, okay?" I said softly to myself. I repeated the mischief once more and was unable to stop myself from doing it again and again. I seemed to have disturbed Papa, who concentrating on the patient's problem. Without looking up from the book, he said in a serious voice, "Don't do that, you might get a shock." The click-clack of the switch and the glowing bulb fascinated me. "Baby, come here, let Papa do his work," called my brother. I ignored everybody. This was the most fascinating game for me at the moment. How fantastic. I press the light is on, I push the light goes off, I muttered. The patient obviously had some serious problem. My father sat with 4 books open in front of him. My running around had certainly disturbed him. Completely exasperated, he put down his pen and spectacles and shouted at me, "You're not listening to me, get down from there." His loud voice broke my trance. I gaped at him wide-eyed. He fixed his gaze on me, expecting to be obeyed instantly. I was shocked at being scolded so loudly by him, scolded by Papa. Papa, a very soft-spoken person who was known never to raise his voice, had shouted in anger at his darling daughter. I was very angry with him. I jumped down from the table with a loud thud and raced up and down the balcony. My breath quickened, my face went red with anger, and my eyes felt hot with unshed tears. Throwing my hands about, I raced up and down, wanting to destroy everything that came in my way. Hearing the commotion, Bea came out. "What is it?" he asked. My fury found a ready victim, and I ran towards him and pushed him. I felt like bursting into tears. I rushed and pulled at the curtain in Papa's room, which came down with the force. I saw Papa talking to the patient with his usual patience. How unthoughtful of him. He is not a bit bothered about my being so angry with him. I was fuming all the more. I went back into the room, stamping my feet noisily in anger. Standing close to Papa, I raged vehemently. Why couldn't you say it softly? Why did you speak so loudly to me? The next moment I came out on the balcony and stood beside the money plant pot. My eyes were now full of tears. I plucked a leaf and shredded it to pieces. The sound of a chair being pushed in Papa's room reached my ears, and then I heard his footsteps coming closer to me. I tried to run away in annoyance, but Papa caught me. He pulled my face towards his and picked me up. Tears came rolling down my plump cheeks. He patted my head lovingly and wiped my tears. "Oh, you big cat," said Papa, ruffling my hair. This affectionate gesture melted my wrath. A moment later I was once again happy playing round the house. There once was a young boy with a very bad temper. The boy's father wanted to teach him a lesson, so he gave him a bag of nails and told him that every time he lost his temper he must hammer a nail into the wooden fence. On the first day of this lesson, the little boy had driven 37 nails into the fence. He was really mad. Over the course of the next few weeks, the little boy began to control his temper, so the number of nails that were hammered into the fence dramatically decreased. It wasn't long before the little boy discovered it was easier to hold his temper than to drive those nails into the fence. Then the day finally came when the little boy didn't lose his temper even once, and he became so proud of himself he couldn't wait to tell his father. Pleased, his father suggested that he now pull out one nail for each day that he could hold his temper. Several weeks went by, and the day finally came when the young boy was able to tell his father that all the nails were gone. Very gently, the father took his son by the hand and led him to the fence. "You have done very well, my son," he smiled, "but look at the holes in the fence. The fence will never be the same." The little boy listened carefully as his father continued to speak. "When you say things in anger, they leave permanent scars just like these, and no matter how many times you say you're sorry, the wounds will still be there." Tippy Dog and Kitty Cat lived in Donny's home. Donny liked them both very much, but Tippy and Kitty always quarrelled with each other. Tippy barked at Kitty whenever she saw her. One night a robber came to Donny's home. Tippy started to bark loudly. Suddenly the robber took a stick and moved forward to beat Tippy. Kitty was watching this. "Oh no, the robber will harm Tippy and Donny," she thought. Kitty ran to the robber and scratched his leg hard. The robber shrieked in pain. Tippy barked loudly. Donny and his father came out and caught the robber. Tippy thanked Kitty for saving her from the robber. Then they both became good friends. Lily is a little girl who is shy and reserved, but she enjoys playing soccer. Her friends and classmates ridicule Lily for her interest in soccer. Nonetheless, she is determined to pursue her passion and become a successful soccer player. Every day, after returning from school, Lily quickly finishes her homework and practices soccer. Her mother understands the love Lily has for the sport and supports her in every way. When the inter-school competitions are announced at school, Lily decides to participate. She takes part in the selection trials, and her classmates mock her once again. But they are shocked when Lily performs well and the judges select her to represent the school. Lily's commitment and hard work mute every person who mocked her. To ask for help and support when we need it is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of wisdom. While walking along a forest path, Diana and her father came across a large tree branch on the ground. "Dad, if I try, do you think I could move that branch?" "I am sure you can if you use all your strength." Diana tried her best to lift the branch, but she couldn't move it. "You were wrong, Dad. I can't move it." The disappointment was evident in the little girl's voice. "Try again with all your strength," encouraged her father. Dad tried again but failed. "Dad, I cannot do it." "Young lady, I advised you to use all your strength. You didn't ask for my help. Our real strength lies not in independence, but in interdependence. To ask for help when in need is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of wisdom." Once upon a time there were 3 tigers. Daddy Tiger, Mummy Tiger, and Baby Tiger. One day, Baby Tiger turned to his parents. "I am bored eating gazelles and antelopes. I want to eat something else." "What, dear?" his mother asked. "I want chocolate." "Chocolate?" "Yes, chocolate. I've heard it's very nice." "Who told you that?" "Nobody, I just heard it, that's all." "Have you been hanging about with those panthers again?" "I've told you about those panthers, they're no good." "No, it wasn't from the panthers, I just heard it, that's all. Can I have some chocolate?" "I'll ask your father when he gets in from hunting." Surprisingly, Daddy Tiger was all for going and getting some chocolate. "It would be good for our son to see a bit more of the jungle," he replied. "Where do we get chocolate then?" Mother Tiger asked. "Well, there's a shop on the edge of the jungle. They've got all sorts of things and they're bound to have chocolate." "All right," Mother replied in a way that would have been cagey, except she didn't like cages. The 3 tigers walked to the edge of the jungle to where there was a shop. "How do we get the chocolate?" Baby Tiger asked. "Go in and get it," Daddy Tiger said. He walked up to the shop and the door slid open. Suddenly there were screams of a tiger and help and oh no, and all the humans ran out of the shop via the back door. Daddy Tiger walked back out the front of the shop. "Now, I think we can get some stuff now all the people have kindly left." "Where's the chocolate?" Baby Tiger asked as they entered the shop. "Over here, I think," Mummy Tiger replied, looking at a counter. But Baby Tiger was no longer listening. He had found a trolley. "Push me, push me, push me," he shouted, jumping in. "What are all these things?" Mummy Tiger asked as she wandered round the shop. "I don't know," Daddy Tiger replied, beginning to push the trolley. "You just throw them into the trolley. We can sort it all out when we get home." So the 3 tigers ran round the shop, throwing various things into the trolley, while Baby Tiger roared as they skidded round the corners. Soon the trolley was full of stuff. "What do we do now?" Mummy Tiger asked. Daddy Tiger would have shrugged his shoulders in reply if he knew how to do it, but he said, "Go up to the tills," in reply. The 3 tigers went up to the tills and Mummy Tiger jumped onto the counter. "Now what?" she asked. "You open the tills and put something in it." "What sort of thing?" "I don't know. See what's already in it?" Mummy Tiger then used her claws to try and open the till. It fell on the floor. "Oops," she said as piles of paper and round pieces of metal fell out. "Well, I don't have any round pieces of metal," Daddy Tiger said. "We could take some of the paper off the other things and leave them in the till," Mummy suggested. "Is this chocolate?" Baby Tiger asked, picking up a twirl. "I think so," Daddy Tiger replied. "Why don't we take the paper off the chocolate and put them in the till?" Baby suggested. "Good idea," Mummy Tiger replied. So the 3 tigers started unwrapping chocolate bars until they had 2 piles, one of chocolate and the other of paper. "Right, help me put the till back on the counter," Daddy Tiger said. So the 2 grown-up tigers started handling the till back onto the counter. Meanwhile, Baby Tiger just stared at the slightly melting pile of chocolate. "Here goes," Baby Tiger said, and he buried his head in the chocolate. "Yuck, chocolate is horrible. I don't like it." "Never mind, son," Mummy Tiger said. "Remember, we tigers and we eat gazelles and antelopes, not chocolate. Get back into the trolley. We'll push you back through the jungle." So baby tiger sat in the front of the trolley with a saucepan on his head, while his two parents pushed him through the car park and to the edge of the jungle where the wheels of the trolley got stuck in the mud. "We'll just have to carry stuff from here," Daddy Tiger said. So the three tigers unloaded the contents of the trolley and struggled back to their tiger home in the jungle. "What do you want for tea?" Mummy Tiger asked. "Gazelle or antelope?" "What about ice cream?" Baby Tiger replied. "I've heard that's very nice." In New York there were Joe and Bill. Joe and Bill were close friends, but they were very poor. They did odd deeds to earn money. They swept and cleaned the streets for their living. One cold morning, Joe was wandering along the streets of New York. He found an apple. He picked up the apple from the ground. He asked his friend Bill, "What did you find today for our night food?" "I got nothing today," replied Bill in anguish. Joe gave his apple to Bill and said, "Bill, you eat this apple. Bit a small piece off the apple." Joe said, "No. Bite off more. Eat more. I am strong. I can bear hunger. You are weak. You cannot bear hunger." By these words of Joe, Bill was satisfied, and he remained a good friend of Joe forever. Thereafter they remained good friends. One day, a boy who was selling goods from door to door to pay his way through school found he had only one thin dime left and he was hungry. He decided he would ask for a meal at the next house. However, he lost his nerve when a lovely young girl opened the door. Instead of a meal, he asked for a drink of water. She thought he looked hungry, so she brought him a large glass of milk. He drank it slowly and then asked, "How much do I owe you?" "You don't owe me anything," she replied. "Mother taught us never to accept payment for kindness." "Then I thank you from the bottom of my heart," he replied. As the boy left that house, he not only felt stronger physically, but his faith had been restored. He had been ready to give up and quit. Years later, that young girl became critically ill. The local doctors were baffled. They finally sent her to the city, where they called in specialists to study her rare disease. Dr. Howard Kelly was called in for the consultation. When he heard the name of the town she came from, a strange light filled his eyes. Immediately he rose and went down the hall of the hospital to her room. Dressed in his doctor's gown, he went in to see her. After meeting her, he went back to the consultation room, determined to save her life. From that day he gave all his attention to her case. After a long struggle, the battle was won. Dr. Kelly requested the business office to pass the final bill to him for approval. He looked at it, and then wrote something in the margin, and the bill was sent to her room. She feared to open it, for she was sure it would take the rest of her life to pay for it all. Finally she looked, and something caught her attention on the side of the bill. She began to read the following words. "Paid in full with 1 glass of milk. Signed, Howard Kelly." There was once a kind duke. He was loved and respected by his subjects. This duke had a wicked brother. His name was Frederick. Frederick rebelled against his brother. He drove away the duke. The duke was a peace-loving person. He left the dukedom. He went to the forest called Arden. His followers also went with him. They led a peaceful life with his followers. Frederick became the duke. The duke had a daughter. Her name was Rosalind. Frederick also had a daughter. Her name was Celia. Rosalind and Celia were fond of each other from their childhood. Celia wanted Rosalind to be with her in the palace. Frederick allowed Rosalind to be in the palace with his daughter. This was for the sake of his own daughter, Celia. Sir Roland de Boys was friend of the elder duke who was in the forest. Sir Roland died, leaving all his property to his eldest son, whose name was Oliver. Oliver was jealous of his younger brother, whose name was Orlando. Oliver did not give any part of the property or money to Orlando. He did not even educate Orlando either. In Duke Frederick's court there was a powerful wrestler. His name was Charles. No young man dared to challenge Charles, but Orlando accepted the challenge. Oliver met Charles secretly. He instructed Charles to do the worst to Orlando. At the wrestling place there were many people. Duke Frederick was also there. In the earlier matches, Charles threw little challenges one after another. All the 3 challengers had broken their ribs. They were struggling for life. Celia and Rosalind also had come there. Duke Frederick asked the girls to talk to the young man, Orlando. Frederick had felt that Charles would throw Orlando down in the fight. The girls approached Orlando. They requested him not to fight. Orlando refused gently. He said, "I have no one to care for me. I do not care even to die." The match began. Orlando was much stronger than Charles. Orlando lifted Charles above his shoulders. Then he threw him down. Charles became unconscious after falling. Frederick and all others were happy. They congratulated Orlando. Orlando told Frederick, "I am the second son of late Sir Rowland de Boys." Frederick did not like Orlando from that minute onwards, because Frederick had not liked Sir Rowland de Boys. The 2 girls, on the contrary, praised Orlando. Rosalind was happy. Sir Rowland had been her father's friend. She then took out a chain from her neck and presented it to Orlando. This was the reward for his bravery.